Welcome to Daily Pulse, where we keep your finger on the pulse of the latest breaking news and the news they're definitely keeping from you. A quick reminder to head on over to Rumble to watch our full show. If you're not subscribed to our channel yet, do so immediately to catch our no-holds-barred reporting brought to you by the Vigilant Fox and Zeee Media. Tonight, the Trump administration has quietly arranged for taxpayers to fund his ballroom to the tune of $1 billion. Kevin O'Leary's military operation data center has been approved despite huge local pushback, and pastors in the United States are being secretly briefed by the government to prepare their congregations for alien disclosure. Let's get into the Daily Pulse. We reported to you recently that the internet was noticing many anomalies in relation to the White House Correspondents' Dinner incident. Now, we're not going to get into all of the questions that were raised on social media about certain aspects of it that just didn't seem to make sense. We already did that. But what did stand out at the time was what appeared to be coordinated messaging regarding the construction of this ballroom from a wave of influencers who immediately, after what appeared to be the result of a serious security failure, went to posting about how this is the reason that Trump needs a ballroom. Not questioning why this person was able to bypass what should have been one of the most secure events in the country, considering the president and vice president and many leading members of the administration were there, not demanding answers from the Secret Service and security teams as to how they were going to prevent such failures in future. Why it seemed the same fumbling female Secret Service agent that conservatives mocked as a DEI hire at the time of the Butler assassination attempt appeared to be at this event too. Nope. Ballroom. Now. Okay, he really wants the ballroom, and influencers really want the ballroom too. They're just so passionate about this ballroom. And look, what's the big problem? It's going to be privately funded by private donors, right? Fully financed, actually. In fact, we'll have money left over, according to Trump. Take a listen.
You know, you can always fit a few more people in. And pardon the fact that you're a little tight at your table. That's okay. That's better than lots of room for everybody because nobody shows up, right? But you've been so generous in your contributions. Very substantial money, fully financed. It's fully taken care of now. And in fact, we'll have money left over, and we'll use that for something.
It's been fully financed by private donors, so much money from their generous contributions, in fact, that we will have money left over. Trump has repeatedly reassured people that this is going to be fully financed by private donors. Now, that comes with its own set of issues, of course, and people have raised concerns about that. The problem here really is that it's not being financed by private donors. It's apparently going to be financed by the taxpayers. Republicans have slipped a $1 billion in taxpayer money for Trump ballroom security in ICE and Border Patrol package, according to Fox News. Now, to be clear, this appears to be a technicality. So we're still under the impression as it stands that the ballroom itself, as in the structure above the ground, is still potentially being funded by private donors. But the taxpayers need to cough out an additional $1 billion for quote-unquote security updates, despite Trump saying it was fully funded by private donors with money left over. So here's what Fox News is saying. They say Senate Republicans tucked an eye-popping figure into funding for security measures tied to President Donald Trump's ballroom, a project the administration once touted as being completely privately funded. The GOP released legislation for its immigration enforcement-focused reconciliation package late Monday night, setting the total spending at $72 billion. But it also included $1 billion in taxpayer funding for the ballroom addition to the White House. Republicans had largely kept an arm's length distance from the project, which Trump first announced last year. The construction drew criticism over the demolition of the East Wing and the flow of outside funding, which the administration has touted as a win for taxpayers. But since the third apparent assassination attempt against Trump during the White House Correspondents' Association dinner at the Washington Hilton last month, Republicans have jumped on the ballroom bandwagon. The funding is tucked into the Senate Judiciary Committee's portion of the reconciliation package, which tees up nearly $31 billion for ICE, $3.5 billion for Customs and Border Protection, $2.5 billion for the Department of Homeland Security, and just shy of $1.5 billion for the Department of Justice. Now, here's the apparent technicality. The ballroom funding would be doled out to the Secret Service and is explicitly meant for, quote, security adjustments and upgrades, including, quote, above ground and below ground security features, according to the legislation. Notably, the measure sets guardrails on the funding so that none of the taxpayer money would be used for, quote, non-security elements of the East Wing modernization project. $1 billion for security upgrades for what Trump has described as a massive military complex under the ballroom makes sense, to be honest. When you're talking about a high-tech military bunker tasked with protecting the most high-profile people in the country, people actually understand the need for such a spend. This is national security we're talking about here, protecting our most important figures in the administration. And in the grand scheme of things, with the amount of money they're throwing away out there, $1 billion in taxpayer funds is really not that much. If you explain it to the people in this manner, it isn't a problem. So what is the problem? Lying about it, for starters? Delivering repeated speeches framing the patriotism of people being so great that they care to entirely, fully fund this ballroom with money left over so the taxpayers don't have to wear the cost. That's how much people love President Trump and believe in what he's doing. They'll completely, fully fund his vision. What else is a problem? Going ahead and sneakily slipping taxpayers funding additional elements of the ballroom into a border protection bill after telling them private donors had fully taken care of it. And on the topic of private donors funding this, why would they do that? If people fund something, if people are throwing money at you, 9 times out of 10, they want something in return. So maybe taxpayers are okay with funding the ballroom, that's fine. But in order to fund it, they need to know exactly what it is, what it will cost by the end of it, and what they will get, as should be the case with any construction of this nature. Was it put out to the free market? Was it put out to tender? Are we getting the best price for the job? Are we getting the best job for the money? All of these things, which the actual people paying should know, but there's been no effort to date to explain this to millions of people across this country who work hard, in many cases in this economy, 2 jobs or more, to pay their taxes and should have transparency as to where that money goes. It's really important for the government to be forthcoming, transparent, and very honest in this day and age, because we have more people involved in political discourse today than probably any other time in modern history. They're paying attention to what is going on. They have good memories, and they actually expect accountability. We know that's a nightmare for self-proclaimed elites, but that's actually what the definition of public service is. You serve the public, not the other way around. If the biggest banks and institutions are going hard after Bitcoin exposure, actively launching products and positioning for the future, why wouldn't you take the same bet they do? Let's look at the facts. Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs are in. Corporate treasuries are stacking. And the forces driving people to crypto, institutional adoption, inflation, and declining trust in the system, aren't slowing down. If you're interested in Bitcoin but not sure where to start, Block Trust IRA makes that first step simple. Their crypto experts walk you through your goals, review what you have, and handle the complexity so that you don't have to. Block Trust IRA is powered by Animus Technologies, an AI trading system featured as Bitcoin Magazine's #1 crypto technology platform and winner of their 2023 trading competition. They've stripped away the usual friction, no setup fees and no monthly fees, and just 0.14% trading fees, so more of what you earn stays invested. The team brings 30 plus years of combined experience and has already processed over $300 million in IRA transactions, backed by up to $200 million in custody insurance, multi-key security, and fully offline storage. Their AI Bitcoin Alpha strategy has delivered 657% versus 400% for buy and hold, showing what's possible with a data-driven approach. It's simple to set up, secure, and built to help maximize your retirement with the tax advantages of an IRA. To learn more and take the first step, go to dailypulsecrypto.com. That's dailypulsecrypto.com. We've reported to you last night about Kevin O'Leary's data center in Utah being given the protection of proceeding despite public backlash. How is this protection being given to Kevin O'Leary, a Canadian citizen by birth who also reportedly holds Irish citizenship and UAE Emirati citizenship? Well, it's a military operation now. Okay, if that's the case, why is Kevin O'Leary involved? What sort of considerations have been made surrounding national security of a foreign citizen having involvement in this military operation? Well, none of those questions are allowed to be asked, apparently, because just last night, a county commission in Utah approved the project, completely disregarding the concerns and the will of local residents. Thank you to this person, Rise to Liberty, who actually posted this clip in our comments. This is how the vote went in Utah today regarding the data center. County commissioner told the citizens to grow up, and mind you, I will add here, they said, for the sake of hell, as they expressed their displeasure with the data center. Take a listen to this and pay attention to the reaction of the county commissioner on the far right of your screen.
For hell's sakes, grow up. This is beyond a joke.
Be quiet, let our Can you be quiet and let our citizens hear what needs to be said, please?
So people who don't want this foreign citizen / military operation / totalitarian and environmental disaster ruining their town need to grow up for the sake of hell. Consider the irony of that statement for a moment. When the people shut up and do nothing, that is for hell's sake, so hell can take over. And also shut up so that citizens can't be heard, while simultaneously telling those very concerned citizens to shut up and in the end leaving, refusing to respond to their will or even hear it. These people here who turned up for this, by the way, are people who pay property taxes. They elect local members into positions of power for the purpose of representation. Nope, you don't matter anymore. We'll have your money where property taxes are concerned, but your voice simply does not matter here. Here's another clip posted by More Perfect Union, who, by the way, have been doing a really great job tracking data centers and the people's will when it comes to data centers. Kevin O'Leary's massive data center was approved by a county commission in Utah last night. At 40,000 acres, it would be 2.5 times the size of Manhattan. The commission approved the proposal despite opposition from hundreds of locals. Take a look at this.
False. All of this is false. Then why won't they let people talk? Why won't they let us ask questions? It's false. This is not real information. And we sit here like it's okay. It's a charade. It's a charade. It's false.
What we're seeing here is a complete breakdown of any semblance of democracy or true representation. The response in opposition to this project, as you saw there, was big enough to not ignore. It's very hard to get a true sense of how the entire meeting went from a couple of clips, but from what we've seen, and there are more videos out there, those who politely accept the sales pitch without asking questions are just fine, and those who have genuine concerns about the impacts on their community, where they live and again pay to keep living, have no right to voice those concerns, no right to protest, no right to speak, so much so that the county commissioners walk off to ensure they aren't heard and the project is approved despite overwhelming resistance. We predict this trend is going to continue. So when the people are faced with these situations, the mass rollout of data centers nationally and worldwide, and you are told to shut up for hell's sake, we would suggest every citizen and every member of the community should speak up for goodness sake. Are you protected in a world where threats of EMPs, solar flares, 5G, and all types of EMF are interfering with our very existence? Escape the grid with Escape Zone, bringing you the highest quality Faraday technology for ultimate preparedness. Choose when and where your devices are detectable. Faraday bags protect you from EMPs, car theft, card and device skimming, identity theft, tracking, Bluetooth, and GPS. Choose from premium mobile Faraday bags, crossbody bags, laptop bags, and even women's handbags, or opt for the optimum protection with a ballistic backpack, combining cutting-edge Faraday technology with a ballistic 3A Kevlar for the ultimate protection and preparedness. Now you can also protect from EMF with their top-notch EMF beanies and blankets, shielding you from some of the most harmful frequencies in our environment. Whatever your needs are, Escape Zone has you covered, and their range is perfect for personal use, family use, or even as a gift for someone you truly care about. Visit escapezone.com/pulse and protect you and your loved ones today. That's escapezone.com/pulse. The US government is reportedly holding secret meetings with pastors across the United States, preparing them for alien disclosure. Televangelist Perry Stone has claimed a super secret meeting took place with many pastors in a secret state where secret government officials confirmed to them that revelations about aliens and spaceships and reptile-like creatures among us will soon occur. He claims that this super secret meeting took place, we suppose, in an effort to help the pastors prepare their congregations for the government suddenly telling us the truth about aliens. I'll play you a portion of his video and then dive into a little bit more of what he said. We want to say here, we will not take him out of context. He raised concerns about people doing that in a longer clip that we saw, so we will make every effort today to not do that. Take a listen.
I had a friend that sent me a text message. I was in a meeting, a weekend meeting, preaching Friday, Saturday, and Sunday morning. And he said, Perry, can you give me a call? I have some information that has come to my attention. Of course, when a friend of yours does that you know quite well, you have no idea what information they're talking about. And I'm not going to go into great detail, but there were a large number of pastors that had been invited to go to a certain state to hear some men in the United States government and others share with them a concern that they had. And this particular man, and I'll not name him, and then we may end up doing some teachings with him or having an event at his church. He has a great church. But he said, Perry, what they're about to release, from what we're hearing, there's going to be a release concerning aliens and concerning unidentified flying object spacecraft, that some of the people who were in the meeting were telling us as pastors, you need to prepare your people and you need to get ready to answer them for what you're about to hear being released. And some of it has to do with crafts that have been discovered that are not allegedly a part of our planet, and the materials they're made of are not a part of our planet. Very strange reptilian-looking creatures, and other things that almost sound like something out of a sci-fi movie or an Orson Welles book.
Now, let's just break that down for a second. Assuming aliens as they define them, and to be clear, I am not a believer of that, but assuming aliens as they define them are real, the US government, which has spent decades allegedly hiding this information, along with all actually pertinent information from the people, is suddenly very interested in transparency. And furthermore, they are interested in the spiritual well-being of Christians in particular. A government that doesn't appear to be overly concerned about true Christian fundamentals and beliefs, rather sporting a very televangelist type of Christianity, holds a top secret meeting with unnamed Protestant pastors to tell them the truth about aliens and make sure that their presumably televangelist congregations, or more fittingly audiences, are spiritually prepared for the truth bombs they're about to drop. Forgive me for mocking this, but in my opinion, this is so transparently cartoonish, and one of the concerning aspects to this, and this may anger some people, but it's the manipulation of scripture that these seemingly chosen pastors are pairing with this public announcement. We'll give you a clear example. Televangelist Perry Stone later in this video gives people a quote from the book of Hebrews, specifically Hebrews 11:3. Listen to his own words.
Okay, first of all, we read this in the Bible. By faith, we understand that the worlds were created and framed by the Word of God.
We don't want to turn this segment into a theological debate, but in this instance, we can very quickly debunk what appears to be an attempt by Perry Stone to justify the possibility of aliens, aka little green men TM. We happen to have a fluent speaker of the Greek language in our studio. The word that Perry is quoting in the English language there as worlds, plural, that God created, is the Greek word aeonos, meaning ages, eon, maybe relating to the universe or heavens, but certainly does not mean multiple worlds, let alone specify planets other than Earth within or outside of our solar system. He goes on to discuss the darkness of heaven and the levels of heaven, being referenced to the lower or upper atmosphere, outer atmosphere, and so on. This has probably been a theological argument amongst varying denominations for years, but it simply is not the case. It's not what the original text says. It just doesn't in any context that you may try to maneuver it into. So again, not turning this into a theological debate, but the meanings of words actually do matter, and it is important to pay attention to who is being chosen to deliver messages about aliens and their actual understanding of words and scripture. So this is what I think is going on here. The government knows that when so-called disclosure occurs, there will be pushback from the Christian community, particularly those who understand the teachings of the early church. And here's a little hint, they aren't listening to televangelists. But for those who do listen to those types, there is a serious risk here of deception. Now, we will give Perry credit here because he goes on to warn of a potential deception coming. Take a listen to what he says.
Here's what I want to tell you. According to the men who were present, who have the information, they said to these pastors, you're going to have two responses more than likely when all this information is eventually released. Now, I don't know what the total information is. I know a little bit about what it's about, but apparently whatever this is very serious. And number one, you're going to have people who are going to say, if there are galaxies and there are allegedly other creations in the galaxies, then the whole creation story is a myth. And you're going to have people that's going to apostatize and turn from the Christian faith because they have no answer for what they're about to hear. Then they said the opposite will be. There will be a group of people who are not followers of Christ, are not followers of the Bible, and they're going to freak out. And they're going to come to pastors, ministers, and teachers and say, what is this? Is this really real? Now, my son thinks that a lot of this is going to be government fabrications to eventually, over time, explain away disappearances. Now, you know, this is not a movie. There's like 11 scientists that all have one thing in common. I'll let you research this, that have disappeared.
So credit there again. This is actually a possibility. There may be certain people whose faith is shaken by this quote unquote disclosure that makes them question creation, thus God. And then there may be people that instead flood to religion as a result. There may be a government fabrication for this very reason. You don't say. What I can say unequivocally is my belief is that aliens, as we know them, aka little green men and Martians and so on and so forth, are not real. They do not exist on any plane or in any dimension. But even if they did, which they don't, but even if they did, the government is not going to suddenly want to be honest about it, and certainly not going to reveal things to the public without some sort of ulterior motive. And this is probably the time to again mention the work of Serge Monast, who mysteriously died after revealing the plans for Project Bluebeam. He alleged that NASA and the United Nations plan to use advanced holographic and space technology to simulate a second coming of Christ or other religious figures in the skies. This fake event, along with engineered earthquakes, revealing discrediting archaeological finds and a staged alien invasion, would destroy existing Abrahamic religions and usher in a single new age global religion headed by the Antichrist. The ultimate goal was to manipulate humanity into accepting a totalitarian New World Order or one world government under this new spiritual system. So we sincerely encourage the pastors present at this secret little meeting to research the work of Serge Monast and perhaps prepare their congregations for that possibility instead. Republicans are again teaming up with Democrats to ram digital ID through at a federal level. The bill they've just introduced is, if you can believe it, worse than all the others prior to it. H.R. 8250, deceptively named the Parents Decide Act, doesn't only force everyone to link their identity to utilize apps on their phones, it actually mandates that they have to do it in order to use any operating system. That means Apple, iOS, Windows, Google, Android, even Samsung, basically everything, locking us into a digital control grid no matter which way we turn. One brave group is standing up to them. Graphene OS has made a statement saying Graphene OS will remain usable by anyone around the world without requiring personal information, identification, or an account. And there is a way to put it on your phone easily, and you don't even need to buy a suitable phone to learn how for free. Our friends at Privacy Academy are hosting a free webinar on May 7th at 7 p.m. Central to teach everyone how to create your own de-Googled privacy phone and opt out of the digital ID surveillance grid. The webinar is informative, presented by a trusted group who are in the fight for human liberty alongside all of us, and they're doing it for free. Register today at privacyacademy.com/pulse for the free webinar on Thursday, May 7th at 7 p.m. Central. That's privacyacademy.com/pulse. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. If you haven't noticed by now, we're going to tell you the truth, no matter what. And so if you appreciate our independent reporting, please make sure to subscribe to our Rumble channel. Zeee Media is where you can find us. Tune in every night at 7 p.m. Eastern. If you want to support our independent reporting, the best way to do that is to support our sponsors. We've carefully selected businesses that care about our collective future. So go ahead and visit their links in the description below. The other way to support us is to subscribe to Rumble Premium if you're not already. As content creators on the platform, it does help us out. And you also get an ad-free experience. You can find that button under this video. Give us your thoughts in the comments. Make sure to like the video, and we will see you tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Good night.